In this video, we are going to borrow our scenes and loading mechanisms that we set up from NumberWizard UI so that we have our game over, start menu, level 1 scenes ready to go with our buttons all taken care of. We don't have to create them from scratch. We can export and then import into this project. So let's get exporting and importing. We're going to start by borrowing some of our good work in our previous section, our NumberWizard UI section. If you didn't go through that section or if you didn't complete it, no problem. I'm going to give you the resources against this lecture that you need. But for those of you who did, please go ahead and open up NumberWizard UI. While you're doing that, I'll show you our challenge and what we're trying to achieve in this lecture. We're going to set up our scene flow in Blockbreaker is what we're doing. We're going to start by exporting the scenes and the scene loader.cs from NumberWizard UI, from the project that you're opening up right now. We're going to import the package into a new project. So when you export from one project, you're exporting a package. When you import, you're importing a package. And then we're going to change our aspect ratio to 4:3 as per our design. We'll set up scenes in our build settings to make sure that we can click and load our new scenes. And we're going to tidy up a little bit. We're going to tidy up the formatting and the text and some of the names of the game objects that we've got in our build, in our project that we're creating. So back into NumberWizard UI, the way that we export a package is we jump up to the top, click on Assets, find Export Package, click on that button, and you'll see everything that we have in our project. We've got our scripts, we've got our resources, we've got our scenes, all this good stuff. Now, I'm going to unclick Text Mesh Pro so that we're not exporting all of that and then subsequently importing it. I don't need the numberwizard.cs script. I just need sceneloader.cs. That's the script that'll allow us to load our scenes. And then I don't need these images, these hilarious images of me and Ben, so I will not bring those in either. And then in terms of fonts, I don't need these fonts because we're not going to be using them in our scene, so we're not going to be using wizard type stuff, so I will click off those and not bring those in. Okay, so I've just got what I need, and then all the way down the bottom, you should see an export button. Click on export. It'll ask you where you would like to save this. I'm just going to save it straight onto my desktop. Already been through this process before, so I've got a file there I'll overwrite just now, calling it NumberWizard UI export number 1. Doesn't really matter what you call it, but it should be sensible in some way. So you know what, let me practice what I preach. NumberWizard UI scene export package. There we go. So it's super duper clear. And that should have all exported nicely. Great. Now what we need to do is close this down. Or first of all, I'm going to start my new project before I close that one. Jump over into Unity Hub. Click on New. Call it project name. Call it whatever you like. I'm going to call mine Blockbreaker. The Unity version, just use whatever latest version you have available to you. Location, I'm going to save mine. I'll set my project up in repos, Unity 2D, Blockbreaker, and then template 2D. Okay, click create. While that's creating, we will take a brief interlude. I'll be back here in a moment. Rightio, we can see that Blockbreaker, the project, is all ready and raring. We've got one scene, sample scene, and a main camera. Up to assets, up the top of Unity, click on assets there. We will import package, click on custom package, and then we'll navigate to where we have saved our scene export package. Double click on that. It'll import it in. This is the exact same process you go through when you download assets from the asset store. You'll be importing a package. Now, what do we want to import? Well, we import everything because we were pretty clear and clever when we were setting up our export. Click on the import button. That will import all of these things into our build. It'll save them in the appropriate folders. So you can see now I've got my script folder with my one sceneloader.cs and I have a scenes folder. And we have our scenes in there. Wonderful. Now we need to do a little bit of tweaking on these. First of all, I'm going to click on my start menu scene. And when we do that, it says, aha, you have some Text Mesh Pro assets in your scene. Do you want to import all of the things you need to import? So I'm going to click yes, import TMP, Text Mesh Pro Essentials. That will do a little bit of thinking, a little bit of importing, a little bit of building. Okay, I'm not going to worry about importing the rest of this for now. If I have any issues, I'll jump back and do that, but for now, I should be okay. Double click on my canvas, and we have the scene that we previously created in Number Wizard, which is cool. This used to be an image of me, I believe, of Wizard Rick. We don't need that, so I'm going to delete that. So it's just clicking and deleting. And then we need to do a little bit of reorganization. You might find that your fonts have disappeared. If you click on your button here, this should be our start text. It's no longer there, possibly because we didn't bring in our Wizard text font, our Wizard font that we had in our Number Wizard UI. So find the font asset, click on that. We should have one default font that we can use here, Liberation Sans. Let's liberate that text. Now, it might still also not be there. Not a problem. I'm going to do the same for our quit button. Find the actual text on the quit button and change that so there actually is a font there. What I found when I was doing this just before, when I was testing this out, is that we need to save, go to one of the other scenes and come back, and it should be there. If you're having problems with this process, you might need to just delete your TextMesh Pro component or delete your button and start again, create a new button from scratch. But let's see if we can force it into existence by clicking Save. I'm going to go to our win screen. Windscreen, I laugh every time I hear that. Click on the image that's no longer there. Delete that because we don't need it. We can see our font is here for this particular button. Is that because this wasn't a TextMesh Pro? Oh, it was. Okay, so sometimes it knows what's going on and sometimes it doesn't. So save this, back over into our start menu. And yeah, you can see that the text is now there. For some reason, it didn't like it when we first brought it in, but we've jogged it into existence. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is change my aspect ratio. Click on Canvas and find the reference resolution. I will change this to 1440 by 1080. That makes it a 4:3 aspect ratio. I'll also, while I'm here, change my game scene so that I'm using the 4:3 aspect ratio. Now we'll need to do a little bit of tidying up to get things where they need to be. Click W for my move tool, put that into the middle. Highlight that, holding shift, move that into the middle of the scene, and that looks pretty good. It's just being fast and loose for now. We're going to do formatting of this later on, and it's up to you if you want to make it look pretty or how pretty you would like to do it. Because we've gone through this menu stuff a couple of times now, I'm really going to focus on the game in Block Breaker and not so much these menus. But one thing I will do here is to say, just type in Block Breaker, bloink, so that we know that we're not playing Number Wizard, we're playing Number Breaker, Block Breaker. Change my font up to 80, that looks okay, not amazing, but now we've got the structure of it. If I click play, actually let me save this first. Now if I click play, let's see what happens if I click on the start button. Start doesn't do anything at all. Great, let's go and hook that up. Let's have a look at our buttons. Our start button here. What's our start button doing at the moment? Well, it's trying to load next scene and scene loader. Okay, but we haven't set up our build index yet. It's up to File, Build Settings. We can see that all we have in there is sample scene. Move that to the side a little bit. While you're in your scenes folder, you can grab them one at a time. Start menu, core game, and windscreen. I'm going to delete or remove, so right-click, remove selection of the sample scene. We don't need that in there. Then just close that window. Is lovely, hunky-dory. Excellent. 2 couldn't be loaded. So whenever you get a red error, let's have a look at what's going on here. Scene with build index 2 couldn't be loaded because it has not been added to the build settings to add a scene. Okay, I think we've just gone and done that. So if we clear that, that error should now be taken care of. That was an error from when we clicked play before. Let's click play. Click start, yes. Okay, we know that correct button should take us to the next scene, cool, and then play again. Okay, so we've set up our flow, which is great. Just going to do last couple of bits of tidy up. Let me just remind ourselves of what our challenge is in here. Change the aspect ratio 4:3. We'll do that in each of our scenes. We'll set the build settings. We've done that. Tidy up the formatting, text, and names. This is a good time for us to go through and do that now. We are currently on, okay, reference script. Okay, it didn't like getting a few warnings here, basically because we've got a game that is the Number Wizard game, but we didn't bring in our Number Wizard script. So that's fine. We'll ignore that just for the moment, because pretty soon we'll be ripping apart our core game scene and putting new stuff in there. I'm going to rename core game scene to level 1. Level 1 is what I'm trying to type here. Level 1. Okay, that should be good for now. And when we do that, it's good to note that in our build settings, our scene name is automatically updated. So we don't need to worry about our names going out of date in our build settings here, it's automatically updated, which is cool. Sample scene, I will delete. Delete that, yes. Start menu, win screen, I'm going to change to game over, because it's not necessarily when you win, it is just when the game is finished that we want to push people to that scene. Okay, so from in here, this looks good enough for our start menu. We've changed our camera aspect ratio. Now we'll have a look at the level 1. Again, click on canvas, change this to 1440 by 1080 as our reference in there, and we will change our game to 4:3. It's already on 4:3 because it'll be 4:3 throughout. Save that. What should we do in here? I won't tidy all of this up at the actually, you know, I will. I was going to not do it. I was going to put it off till tomorrow, but let's do it right now. We don't need our higher button. We don't need our lower button. Our heading text we don't need. Our guest background we don't need. Our success button, I will leave that in there for now, just as a way for us to push to the next scene. I mean, oops, it helps if I'm on scene. Push to the next scene. We'll just pop this down the bottom here, just as a way for us to cycle through our menu, our scenes one here. So we'll say next level. Just leave that down the bottom there, just for now. And then we don't need these other elements, my guess. Okay, so we've tidied this one up. Canvas, we've tidied up. Game is good. Save that. Onto our final one, which will be our game over screen. And we need to click on canvas. 1440. Okay, and then game's already set up. Just pop this guy in the middle a little bit. Not going to do a lot of worrying about formatting just yet. Just getting it good enough. Here we will say game over. Doink, and that's good enough. Then the play again button should be pretty explanatory. We'll change this up to 120. Okay. There we go. So final test of this. Click on play from the game over screen. Can we play? Yes, play again. Good. Start, takes us to our game, next level. Okay, so we've completely implemented our scene flow for now. If we were to duplicate level 1, then it should work in a way that allows us to go from level 1 to level 2 to game over and so on. So that should all be nice and neatly taken care of. The very last thing I'll do is I just want to have a look to make sure that I've got my things named correctly, my elements named correctly here. So start button, yes. Quit button, yes, that's all fine. Text, intro text, that's okay as well. Go to our game over. Game over says well done text. We'll just change this to game over text. It's a pretty minor thing, but you don't want to leave these things hanging around because in the future I'll have this success. What was it? Oops, that was the wrong button to click. We will have this. What have I done here? There we go. We'll have this well done text. I was just trying to undo. Unity, why are you getting mad at me? This well done text. And we'll say, why is it well done? What does that even mean? Because we didn't change it to game over text. And then that looks pretty good. Play again button. Play again button is all accurate. Okay, great work. So in this video, we've created our 3 scenes. We're now looping through our 3 scenes, and we are ready to go in terms of jumping into level 1 and making ourselves some level 1 action. So great work, and see you in the next video.